we are going to take a very long ride up the Kangamangas Highway. Now, I know, because I have been told, that that is not how you pronounce that. But I have lived in New England my entire life, and I can tell you that everyone that lives up here in New England pronounces this area just like that. So I'm sticking with what I know. We're up in the White Mountains. We actually own our timeshare that's not too far from where I just started this video. And this is a drive from our area of where we stay when we're here over to the North Conway side. So I decided this evening that my wonderful husband is going to drive. Normally I am in the driver's seat and I enjoy that very much. But I told him at some point during this week I wanted to sit in the passenger seat and I wanted to be able to record, chat with you guys, and take this drive. I'm not sure that my arm will hold up for the entire ride. I'm going to try to keep it as steady as possible. This is about a 50 or so minute drive, maybe a few minutes more or even a few minutes less. Can't remember right at the moment. We usually just drive it, talk, laugh, look for wildlife in the forest and stuff. So it's give or take that amount of time. We might stop off at the river points, I'm not sure. Or we could just drive straight through to the North Conway side. And then at some other point during this week, I will record the return trip back through this area along this roadway and do it in the opposite direction, because the views look totally different coming back into the Lincoln, New Hampshire side of the White Mountain area from the North Conway side. So I will probably just tell you a little bit about this week so far. We've been here since this past weekend, and we have been having a really, really great time. Really not doing anything. There's no agenda at all. Absolutely none. We just came up here to relax, to rejuvenate, and to connect with each other, hang out, sleep, rest, and just look at the beauty of the world. This is an area and a place that we've come both together and separately before we met each other throughout our lives. I came up here most often when I was a kid with my family. We used to camp up here once in a while. We would come for just day trips. It's about a 2-hour ride from where we live in Massachusetts if you take the highway, and it's a beautiful place to be. I could drive these roads probably the rest of my life and never get sick of the views and the scenery and the beauty of the world and the untouched land. We've spent most of our week so far right here on this roadway. Along both sides, there are so many different pull-offs for overlook areas, waterways, the river connection to go down and to take hikes through the trails, and then out to the water itself to splash. The current is extremely strong, so you have to be extremely careful. If you're not somebody that comes from up here, it can be dangerous if you're not careful and cautious. The rocks get wet because the river, rises, and then it decreases as like drought happens and stuff like that. So you just have to be aware of what you're doing. Be careful, have good footing and good shoes and stuff like that. Even definitely wear secure water shoes and stuff before you go into the river and in the lower points, and kind of just sit on the rocks and put your feet in, which we've done most of this week. Richie is not so much of a person that goes in the water, but I definitely am. But he loves to just sit there with me and kind of just chill. It's beautiful. It's covered with all the forest, and it's just relaxing. So this is what we prefer the most, is just to kind of chill out and enjoy nature while we're here. Other than that, we've gone out to eat a few times, but not many. We've even gone to the grocery store a couple of times and taken stuff back to the room so that we could, make food there. The timeshare that we got was really reasonable. I know a lot of people don't like timeshares. We were actually, people that were very leery of them. And, there's good and bad to them, but I think we got a really fair deal. They highballed it, the price of it. Probably 6 years ago now, we went to one of those seminars where they were giving away a free night's stay and trying to entice you to come and hear about timeshares. And basically, Richie and I just wanted to go away for a night. And who wants to pay for stuff? Not us. So we signed up to go to a timeshare seminar. We got the free night stay, and they actually gave us a little bit of a heavy price for a 1-bedroom condo up here in the White Mountains, and we immediately said no, that we weren't willing to buy into that. Then they lowered it how many times? 4 times. They lowered it 4 times, I would say, before we finally were okay, this is wild, because we've gone from this really high price to buy a 1-bedroom condo for a 1 week's vacation for 25 years before you have the option to buy back into it, or you can sell it back to them so that they can resell it. But it's for a 1 week's vacation. Every single year, you pick the week that is best for you, that you would like to travel. We like to be off season because it's quiet. This is a very touristy place for sure. The tourists get really thickly packed into the White Mountains, especially in the spring, summer, and the fall. Even in winter too, for the skiing and stuff. But we decided that we wanted to be off season if we were going to do this. They found a week, and they picked Mother's Day week as an option. And I thought, well, how great would that be if we got to go away every Mother's Day week for 25 years for this really low price that we talked them down to, basically, by just saying no a bunch of times to the higher prices. So it was a deal that we really couldn't pass up, because it means basically that 25 years of a vacation costs barely nothing for a whole week every single year. So that's what we did. And every beginning of the year, we pay a maintenance fee to the property, which is normal and something that they always ask you to do, because they maintain the property 365 days of the year, and including while we're staying here. They have housekeeping services and stuff like that. So we decided to do it. And unfortunately, the last 4 years out of the 6 that we've owned it, we haven't used it to its full potential because of how our life kind of goes wild for long durations of time. So we weren't able to use it every single year, but hopefully, absolutely hopefully, we will at this point be able to try to plan on coming up here for a year, every year for a week during the week that we own. And then if we can't, now Isaiah is old enough and he has Cindy, and if we can't come for some odd reason, we can give it to them, and then they can come up here for a week's vacation. It's already paid for, so we don't have to worry about anything. We just come and check in. So this is where we really love to be. He likes to travel further. I always did too, but since the pandemic, I really enjoy staying closer to home. This is one of our very favorite spots as we're going up the mountain here on the highway. So eventually we'll get back into traveling long distance, more than likely, hopefully in the next couple of years, if I can wrap my head around it. but now I really prefer to stay as close to home as possible. This is 2 hours from our home. So many different points in Maine are at, you know, like an hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half, 2 hours, you know, depending on where we're going in Maine. It's roughly that same type of distance. And then we're on the coast and the ocean and everything that I love so much as well. So the beach and the ocean, the mountains, we're kind of right in the middle of all of it within a 2 hour range. So it's really nice to just get away, take a break, take a moment, and be quiet and regroup. So that is what we are doing. I wish I could pull off at every stop throughout this whole highway, but this would be like probably a 3 hour video if I did that and continued on. So we're basically gonna drive until we hit one of the most beautiful spots that I love to pull over in, and kind of get out of the car right on the side and just go right into the river. So we'll see if we end up stopping there, depending on how Richie's doing driving for this long period of time. We'll see what happens. So let's just enjoy the views. So other than that stuff, this week we have gone out to eat a few times. We've cooked at the place, you know, place we stay for a few times. And we've basically been thrifting. We've gone thrifting quite a bit and found some really cool stuff for very inexpensive prices. More like clothing. I've found lots of shoes. If you can absolutely believe it, I am a girl and I don't really have like a lot of shoes, and I'm not very infatuated with shoes. Richie's shaking his head. Did you shake your head? Did you shake your head? I don't have a lot of shoes for a girl. There is not a lot of shoes. I have
50 at least.
No, that 50? Have you lost it? I'm gonna have to take a picture of all of my shoes when I get back to home. He's gonna call my mom that's house and bird sitting and have her count my shoes. So we'll get back to you on that in the comment section. But I can tell you, I do not have 50 pairs of shoes. I don't even really enjoy buying shoes, and I like comfort now that I have weak ankles.
Well, it may be footwear. You have 100 pair of footwear. Maybe it's not shoes.
I have a lot of slippers.
Sandals.
I have like 5 pairs of slippers because I like comfort. Now look at this. I have Crocs, yeah. I have a few pairs of sneakers. We'll count them later, okay? But I don't have that many. But this trip, thrifting, I have found some really great slides that have support in them and everything. I'm very impressed. And also, there are 2 pairs of shoes. My mom is very big on like knowing brands and all kinds of like fancy stuff that, you know, is like worth a lot of money. So I found these 2 pairs of shoes in one of the thrift stores up here, and they're called Dansko, right? Dansko or something like that. And I instantly thought of like a Walmart brand of athletic wear. I think that is actually called Danskin. Danskin? I think so. So these were called Dansko shoes. And I said to Richie, these are brand new. 2 pairs of really cute dressy walking shoes with like the peekaboo toe area, and they're Velcro around the ankle, and they've never been worn. There was a black pair and a mauve pair that had no marks on them whatsoever. Nothing. You could tell nobody's even ever walked in them for a minute. Sorry, we're bouncing around a little bit. So I told him, look these up really quick, because I thought they came from Walmart. I thought he was going to tell me, I don't know, they were like $25 or something. And I was kind of sad that they were $10 a piece at a thrift store. So I was almost not even going to purchase them, because I'm like, they're selling Walmart shoes that I've never seen a Walmart carry, but I thought it was the Walmart brand. and they are going to sell them for $10 at a thrift store. Well, he looked up the brand that the label is, you know, says on the shoe. He looked it up and they said like, I don't know, $200 roughly for the shoes. And he was like, these are like $200 shoes. I said, no way. They cannot be $200 shoes. So I called my mother, because my mother knows everything about style, fashion, makeup, shampoo. What else? All kinds of fancy shampoo and more shampoo. She loves shampoo. So I told her the kind, and she was like, Cal, she's like, you just got those for $10 a piece? She's like, what? And I said, yeah. I said, don't they come from Walmart? And she said, no. Dansko? She's like, that's a seriously expensive brand of shoe wear. And she's like, I think that they're like 150 to 175. Some are like 200, over 200. I said, well, that's what Richie just said. He said it was like, they were almost like $200 or $200. She's like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that you just scored those. So thrifting, I've found flats, I've found slides, I've found those Dansko shoes. So maybe Richie's right. I'm getting closer to like maybe 30 pairs of shoes, including my slippers. He's making faces. So I own a lot of slippers, and I own like, I'd say realistically like 6 pairs of sneakers, because again, I need comfort. I have weak ankles and a bad knee on my left side. So there's that. And I have lots of flip-flops and sandals that I tend not to wear too often anymore. And then I have comfort slides. That's basically it. And I have a pair of rain boots, I think. And snow boots. That's really not that serious. So, and most of my shoes come from thrift stores or from like clearance or something like that. Even from Kohl's clearance back in the day is where I get like a lot of my sneakers. So there's that. So we've been thrifting, and then we've gone into like the little country stores a bunch and poked around in there and found like really good yummy smelling soaps and just great stuff like that. So other than that, that's basically been at least these first are we on the 4th day? 4 days. That is basically it for the 4th day. That's what we've done so far. So I enjoy just flying by the seat of my pants. And I can tell you I've taken probably at least 20 baths.
And only gone to one Dollar Tree.
And I've only gone into one Dollar Tree that we happened to stumble upon when we were going to a different part of the White Mountains to discover some new waterways and different trails and stuff. And I went into a Dollar Tree and only found 4 things. So, and I was in and out lickety split because I wanted to get back to nature. So that is wild, because I did find one and I got excited, but then I was like, I really want to get back outside because it's been a beautiful week. What a change in weather we have had. An absolutely amazing change in weather, because at home in Massachusetts, it rained, poured, and thundered, and lightning was happening, and all kinds of windstorms and everything. We had flooding all for the last 2 weeks before we came on this vacation. Yep, we did. And then this has been a very beautiful week. The humidity has been really high. So it's been, I think the highest temperature day was close to 80, and the humidity was high. And then we've had like early 70s and also like mid 60s to higher 60s, but the humidity level has left it really warm, and I have been able to go in the river while Richie took a nap on the rocks. So that was really fun to go in the water. It is frigidly cold. If anybody, you know, has ever been in the river, you know how cold they are. The mountains up here, it is frozen temperatures, but wow, does it take like the swelling of your legs down instantly, and it just makes you feel awake and refreshed and fabulous. So that is awesome. He hasn't even gone fishing or anything. He's just wanted to kind of relax. It's been really nice to just walk, see nature. We're really, really hoping to see a moose. I will tell you guys the truth. We did sign up for a moose tour. We signed up through our timeshare resort because during the week that you're here, they offer all kinds of really cool things to do. They have like, you know, kind of like tenant parties and things like that. They hire a local musician to come and do like a little concert for everybody that wants to come and enjoy music. They do like strawberry shortcake night, ice cream party. They also do like adventures, so they have professional hikers come and you can go on hiking little trips and they will take you through the hikes, which I kind of wanted to do with a guided tour, but I don't know if my legs, some of them were really steep inclines, and I know that Richie's really probably not up for that, and I didn't want to go without him. But they take you on hikes and stuff. So we saw, oh, they had a bingo night. They had a bingo night where it was $3 a board, and you could win a week's stay outside of the week that you own. You could win a week's stay in 2026, so the year to come. And then you could win like the pot at the end of bingo of how much money, you know, they gathered. They have movies 3 times a day in their movie theater in the resort that they just kind of recently put in, which was really nice. I'm gonna go see Harry and the Hendersons. I think that plays tomorrow or Friday. Oh, is it tomorrow? Tomorrow they're playing Harry and the Hendersons for a matinee, which I love so much. But they also offered a moose tour. So a bus will come pick everybody up that wanted to sign up to go on the moose tour. And it's a 2.5-hour ride through the mountains that they will take you on. And it's along all the moose trails. Now, Richie and I have seen many, many moose in our travels up here in the mountain area, especially when we go right to stay in Moose Alley, which is a beautiful place to stay as well. So we have seen many moose, you know, as we've traveled around here. We both wanted to do the moose tour with the tour guide in the bus, so we did sign up for it, but I unfortunately got too nervous once I saw how long the list was of people. I didn't want to be jammed into the bus with every seat full and be trapped in there for 2.5 hours with tons of strangers and somebody else driving the bus other than myself, because I like to control my own destiny. And so I chickened out. We signed up for it. We were both looking forward to it. And I did ask him this morning because I was dwelling on it and I felt a lot of anxiety knowing that the moose tour was coming up at 7 o'clock in the evening. I did tell him, would you be so upset if we canceled going with them and we just went on our own moose tour? Because I really don't want to kind of be in the bus with that many people, just for claustrophobic feelings and just panic. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So unfortunately, we did not go on the guided moose tour, but we're gonna just do our own evening ride tonight. I'm doing this as we're going to the North Conway side, and then on the way back, we're gonna kind of just stop and date and watch the sunset at an overlook. So I'm taking you for the ride into North Conway, but then on the way back, we're gonna do our own thing, and then we'll look for moose at that point, because in the later part of the evening is when you could potentially see them. So that's that, and that's my honesty train rolling right through the station. I was sad that my nerves got to me, but they did, and you know, I work on it, but sometimes I don't always win the battle, so we canceled. So let me think of what else they had. Oh, they have craft. They have a craft day, which is tomorrow, so that you could sign up, and they offer all different types of crafts that you can go and do, which is so fun. So that is in like the main like community area of the resort. And I'm not sure what crafts they're offering, but I can choose whatever the selection is, choose what I want, and sit there and craft and stuff in a big, beautiful, bright room. So that's going to be fun. Then they also had, let me see, trying to think of all the listing. The ice cream bar.
Strawberry shortcake bar.
I said the strawberry shortcake bar, and then what else? There was so many things. It was like the whole week was.
The UFO guided tour.
Oh, they had a UFO guided tour. They also, there's a lot of history up here of UFO stuff. You know, don't be mad if, you know, you're not somebody that believes in that stuff. But up here, they've claimed that there has been a lot of very significant UFO situations in this whole White Mountain area, and there is a very historical, very popular story for this region that, you know, had a UFO abduction. So they do like a UFO like guided tour just to talk about the history of that true story that happened, that I think that they even made a movie about. I mean, don't quote me on that. They've written books about it. You can look it up in the White Mountains UFO. I think I even did a video on it. It could be on this channel or not. One other time that we've stayed up in this area, and I vlogged. That was many years ago at this point, and we visited the history of that really popular story at that point too. So they did that. They did lots of stuff. They did really cool stuff all week, and unfortunately, we just wanted to kind of be us, so we didn't partake in too much of it. But it's really cool that they do it anyways. They're just filling the outdoor pool now, so we didn't have an option to go in the outdoor pool that's attached to the resort, but the indoor pool is always available, and they have a giant hot tub inside, and then they just filled the outdoor hot tub. So that is all full as of today. So there were tons of people outside in the hot tub, and then I went to the one inside so that I could be alone. So I sat in there, and there was about, 7 or 8 kids in the pool with every floaty and pool noodle that you could imagine, and the noise level was like of pure joy and happiness. I saw all kinds of flamingo floats floating, a sloth float. They had like 17 pool noodles in there floating around, beach balls. They had a popsicle. It was the cutest things. It was the cutest floaties I've ever seen. So colorful and happy in the pool. I almost took a picture of it, but the kids were all in the pool, and I didn't want the parents being like, hey, you lady, why are you taking a picture of my kids? So I just stayed in the hot tub, and then I went in the pool briefly down in the deep end, because they were kind of controlling the whole lower end of the pool, and they were just having a blast. So that was really fun to listen to how happy they were. And then I just enjoyed my little corner of the pool area and hot tub area. Richie has taken some naps, and I would say my favorite part of the resort is where, Richie, if you know me, my favorite part of the resort. How about my favorite? Yes, the bathtub is definitely the top notch. But where else is my favorite part of the room?
Oh, the room? The balcony.
The balcony. Yes, the balcony. I have sat out on that balcony from the minute that I open my eyes in the morning until it's like time to pass out and go to sleep. The slider door stays open, and I'm always going out that screen door. I love just sitting there.
Because of the stream?
Yeah, the stream is running right below like our part of the condos, and the stream is rolling right through, and the noise level is so loud, but it is so soothing to hear the rush of the water, and is just, it's amazing. And then looking out at the view, incredibly unbelievable. It just puts you in such a tranquil trance, and it's just the best feeling ever. The trees are all rustling, and like the wind, you can hear the kind of like the howl at nighttime through the mountains and stuff as the wind is whipping and everything. Oh, it's just so wonderful. I wish I have 2 porches on our house, the front one and the back one, but unfortunately it's not overlooking mountains, and it's not, covered, so it gets direct sun. And I wish I had a slider. I wish I had a slider somewhere in my house, because I would keep that slider open all day long and just keep going on the porch. That would be so much fun. I've enjoyed that immensely. I don't think we've ever had a balcony that overlooked such a beautiful scene anywhere we've ever stayed. So that's been really awesome to sit out there and have fruit in the morning. I got gluten-free strawberry muffins at Trader Joe's before we left, so that was nice. And we brought our own coffee and creamer, that we had from home. So every morning we wake up, we make coffee and sit and have our fruit bowl. It's so nice. But I'm not gonna say that I don't also miss being home. Whenever I'm away, I love it so much, but I miss being home. I miss my family. We've been here for 4 days, and I can't stop thinking about like my son, my mom, my SpongeBob, and I miss my birdie boy. And every time we go away, I think to myself, I wonder what he's thinking when he doesn't see us, because my bird is so attached to me. And he's really becoming very attached to Richie too. He was very much only attached to me, but Richie started this routine with him right after he had his heart surgery, and being home with him so often, he started his own routine with him where he would get just right down and personal with him and whistle and do all these cute little peekaboo things with him. And the bird talks to him and chats with him and gets so excited, and he chirps like sweetly to him now. And when he sees Richie, he gets really excited. And so his bond has become much stronger with him as well. Unfortunately, Isaiah's not home very much. I mean, he's a grown man at this point, and he works an awful lot, so he's in and out most of the time. But SpongeBob gets happy when he sees him coming. He'll start tweeting and stuff. But Isaiah is in and out the door very quickly usually, because he has a strict schedule that he likes to keep for himself. So that's what he does. But and he loves my mom, of course, because my mom actually spent the first 14 years with him. SpongeBob, if you haven't heard me say this before, I'll just tell you quick, but SpongeBob was a bird that I actually fell in love with at the MSPCA while I was working at a day program for developmentally disabled individuals. And all of my wonderful people that I miss so much that I used to work with, they all had jobs out in the community. So I would have to take a group of people to the MSPCA to do their job for the day, and we would go there 3 times a week. And I very quickly bonded with these 2 little birdies that were bonded together as a pair. So it was SpongeBob and Sandy, and they were in one cage, and they were a bonded pair. And so you had to adopt them together as a couple. You couldn't separate them. I had spent so much time with them in that bird room. I had my certain very specific calls that I would do for them, and they knew instantly when I would arrive that I was there. So we just started like really loving each other. I finally, after like a month, went and said, why don't these birds ever get adopted? They have to be the sweetest little couple ever. And she said that they had been adopted 6 times over and returned every time, because Sandy, unfortunately, SpongeBob's mate, she had anxiety and she had no hair, so she had no fur. She plucked all of her fur and she just had like the feathers on her face. And so her skin was all bare, and she would get very nerved up very easily. She was fine with me, but she had a lot of stress and stuff. And so they kept returning the pair because Sandy was a lot to take care of. So I felt heartbroken when I heard that story, and I called my mom because I had Candy, my Yorkie. My Yorkie was still with me and alive. So, and Candy was very territorial with me. There was no way that I could adopt birds and her live with that. So I called my mom and I said, you are going to probably kill me, but I'm going to ask you the biggest favor ever. And I said, is there any way, anyhow, if I adopt these 2 birds, will you keep them? I love them with all of my heart. I will take care of them. I'll do whatever I need to do financially for them, but will you keep them with you if I adopt them? Initially, she said, what? She said, are you crazy? I can't have birds. And she was like, birds? And I said, yes. I said, they are wonderful. So I talked them up. I talked a good game, and I made them sound like as amazing as they were. And she was like, okay, fine. So I adopted them instantly, took them home, gave them to her. She very quickly took care of both of them, said she didn't want nothing, that they would be her pets. So she took care of them. I stayed with Candy, but they were a part of the family. So I saw them and would be with them and stuff when I'd visit my mom, and I was just happy that they had a stable place to live. Sandy passed away after, like, I think the first 2 years because of her health issues, and SpongeBob just absolutely loves himself, and he loves us too, so he's thriving very well. But we've had so much fun with those babies, and SpongeBob is a doll. And the only reason why I have him back now for these last couple of years, Candy passed away on October 21st, 2.5 years ago, which I can't believe it's been that long already. Unfortunately, I lost her, but then right after she passed away, my mom called me a couple of months later and said, you have to take SpongeBob back, or else I'm going to have to find him a home. I don't know what to do. I'm deathly allergic to him. She had been having a lot of breathing issues for like over a year. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. Then they found out at an allergist office that she was really very highly allergic to birds, and that over time all of their stuff that fluffs off of them has built up in her system, and it caused like a parasitic pneumonia from SpongeBob and from having him for so long. And she lives in a smaller space, so he was just too close in proximity to her, and she got really sick from him. So he came back and he lives with us, and I am so happy to have my birdie baby. Candy is not there to hurt his feelings, because she definitely would. She has met SpongeBob's a lot. SpongeBob and her were not friends because Candy was not very nice to him. She did not want him around at all, so visitation rights were revoked between her and SpongeBob. So that had to be the end of that. Yep, we're gonna take a left now. We just made it through the whole Kangamangas Highway in 38 minutes. Wow, fast. So that was very off because I go much slower. That only took him 38 minutes to do that whole highway. How fast were we going? I didn't even notice. Enough. All right, so this is the turn right here at the end of the highway to go to North Conway. So we'll take the turn, drive down to the lights, and then I'm gonna end this so that we can go on our date. I hope that you guys have loved this video, so that I wanted to share some time with you guys. I miss everybody. I have been doing the best I can to keep up with comments and stuff on my main channel, which is Crazy Days of Callan, where I haul from the Dollar Tree on Saturdays, Mondays, and Wednesdays. And this is my second channel. This is the channel that I made after my Crazy Days of Callan channel, just to spend a little bit more time with everyone that I've connected with through my main channel, and just to let you guys know us and like be a part of us a little bit more if you chose to. So that is what we are doing. Oh, I guess that we're pulling into the gas station. That means it's time to use the restroom. So we are gonna say bye. Can I say bye to you?
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Just for the record, Callan now knows I can drive faster and I can get us home faster.
No. No, I like to be in control of the car. Nobody minds. So that was nice. It was nice to have a distraction too, because I am very controlling with driving, because I just like to I like to be in control of it. It makes me feel safe. So he just drove, and making this video while he was driving was really helpful for me. And I didn't notice how fast he was going around all those curves, but you guys probably did. So this is my second channel, and this is where I just share my downtime with you guys. And if you shared this whole entire duration of time with me, thank you so much. I also, really quickly, if you are over on my main channel, I told you guys that I was going to add ducks to my window in my Ford Fiesta, and that is what I have done. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I love you to the moon and the stars in the sky, and I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful day. And I will see you for a return trip on another day through the Kangamangas Highway. Love everyone. Bye.